Hello, welcome back to this rather intermittent channel of mine. My name is Oindrila and I am an international student living in the US pursuing my PhD in environmental engineering at the University of Maryland, Baltimore County. And before I forget, Happy New Year! Can you believe it's already 1 month that we are into this new year? I cannot. It's been a really long time that I actually uploaded a full-length video, and even longer that I actually sat down to chat with you guys this way. So here it is. It's just very hard for me to make a routine out of something that I'm supposed to enjoy. You know what I mean? I'm supposed to feel relaxed and just film it for the fun of it. But sometimes when I'm working, I'm just so devoted into my work that I forget to film it. Happens with me all the time. I have so much respect for people who does that so diligently and with so much perseverance. Initially, I used to feel a little bit overwhelmed looking at people who just keep their YouTube game as persistent as probably they are at their work as well, but it's just not me. I have realized there is no point making any promises as to when the next video is going to come up. But for now, I think one video a month should be doable depending on the month I have had. Of course, there are some months which are more busy than others, and there are months where I have so many interesting things to show you, but then I just kept forgetting throughout the month to film it. So then at the end of the month I'm like, oh no, I could have filmed that, and then I don't have any material to post. So yeah, that's just me ranting about my inefficiency at filming. But overall, I have also realized that I'm just a very shy person, and it takes me a lot of energy to sit down and film and then edit and then come in front of the camera and talk. And I'm just not someone who can, just take out my phone and film it in the lab when everybody is working, and I'm just too intimidated by people, and I'm thinking, yeah, just what is everybody else thinking about me, so yeah, that's just my shyness coming in the way of putting interesting posts out there. So yeah, for now this is how it's going to be, I guess, where I'm going to put out these full-length videos only when I have like substantial amount of footage and good amount of information or update to give, substantial amount to give out, and otherwise I'm just going to make these shorts like I'm doing, which are probably a little less overwhelming and less intimidating. It takes a little bit less time and effort from my end to put them out. But yeah, I just think that living a fuller life is much more important than submitting to the algorithm or being very regular on posting on social media. So yeah, it's fine. Anywho, this video is where I give you a little bit of update about what's been going on in my life over the last couple of months, mostly over the months of since Thanksgiving basically. So a little bit of November, a lot of December, and I do not get into January yet. It was mostly fun, but it did get real at certain points during those last 2 months, now when I think about it. And I tried to keep the footage as real as possible. Of course, there is a lot of fun footage that is mostly packed into it, but I think now that I'm editing it, I realize that there are some parts where you'll probably see me a little bit too worried about in the entire process of job hunting and finishing up my PhD and it's just 5 years of work that needs to go out in the form of a very well put together document. So it's a lot of pressure, honestly, and I just so yeah, it gets a little bit real towards the end. When on the days when I'm not feeling great, I did not really take out the camera and film myself go through that, because that's not me. So so there are missing footages here and there, but overall, when I just put them together, I'm just trying to see if it culminates into a story that is worth telling. And I just felt that for the kind of footage I had, it did culminate into a good story, so here it is, that's why. So yeah, just get your favorite beverage, be comfortable, and let's get into this video. I'll see you on the other side of the vlog to give you my last couple of takeaways from last year, if you may. So yeah, hope you enjoy, and if you do, or if you do not do, nevertheless, just leave a comment below and subscribe to this channel, and hit the like button, because it's a cool video and you might be able to see more in the next couple of months or yeah, weeks. So yeah.
Ice Age vacation, na? আজকে আমরা Ice Age যাই। ছোট্ট এই কর্ন, এটা বুঝতে পারবি Ice Age যখন দেখবি।
একটু পেছনে কর।
মিনিয়েচার।
On the eve of Thanksgiving this year, our friends from Boston visited us. Aniruddha and I prepared a small-scale Thanksgiving dinner for them. The recipes were adapted from a Thanksgiving special edition magazine by Centennial Kitchen that I bought in 2021 when I hosted my first Thanksgiving dinner party. We made some assorted puff pastries for appetizers, a turkey andouille sausage gumbo soup, butternut squash chorizo cornbread dressing, and barbecue chicken wings for the main course. Our friends got us some sticky rice cakes for dessert, which is a Filipino specialty. After they left, we went for a quick hike at the Piney Run Park, close to where we live here in Maryland. It was a fun hike with trails around a lake with boating options. There were even some habitat restoration project installations for birds, and they had several species actually. They had some mallard ducks, red-shouldered and red-tailed hawks, I think some species of owls. And also there was this exhibit installation of a dugout canoe. Native Americans used to hollow out the trunk of a tree by burning the wood and then scraping off the ashes with some stone tools and shells. And they used to use it as a mode of transportation, and later fur traders and continental explorers learned this skill as well. That evening, after we got back from the hike, we decided to visit New York City over the Thanksgiving break, even though just for one night. Aniruddha's friend from college was visiting New York over the Thanksgiving break and we wanted to meet. So we just made hotel reservations overnight and left for New York the next morning. The traffic wasn't super bad, perks of leaving early morning. We parked our car in a garage in the outskirts of New York City, somewhere in Jersey City, I think. And then we took the subway to our hotel. We freshened up a little and headed out for a quick lunch and then walked out to the meeting point with our friend around 4 p.m. We walked the streets of New York that night while chatting and catching up on all our life updates. And by the time we reached home that night, we had walked almost 10 miles, I think. The next day we headed out around noon. When we started driving, the weather and the traffic was starting to get bad, but it got really bad towards the end and we got delayed by almost 2.5 hours that day, and we reached home almost at around 7 p.m. Okay, so I seem to have picked up a new hobby, and that's crocheting. I'm super excited about this, and I made this scarf that is at least my height. And it's so warm and so comfortable that I'm planning to give my mother either a scarf or a shawl. And I also figured out that there is something called the granny square shawl, which is multiple square pieces stitched together in the shape of a shawl. And though it seems a little bit time taking, I'm going to take a jab at it next time I visit home, and we'll see how that goes. After getting back from New York City, I had some quite stressful but exciting days. So, I was excited about this new postdoc position at a university lab that I was interviewing with on December 1st. I had an informal chat before going to New York with the PI of the group, and on December 1st, I had to present the research done in my PhD and my overall lab work experience for this position. So it was a presentation that I had to give in front of in the new group that I was interviewing for. I wouldn't say I was super worried about it, because it's just the work that I had done, the experience I had already had that I had to present. But nevertheless, it's just something new for me. I haven't had any interviews before that, and also I haven't really given a talk in a long time. I've had poster presentations, but a proper platform talk, I haven't really given one for a long time, so I was a little bit worried about that. But overall, I was quite excited, and for the few days that I was working on the presentation, I felt that this is what I was meant to do, and everything made sense. The work I had done so far in my PhD was really relevant for this new position. I was feeling positive, and I was feeling like I was going to get it. So on December 1st, I had the interview, and it went great. I was really happy with everything. And I was really starting to realize that every experience that you have had during the entire journey of your PhD counts. Be it a failure, be it a success story, but everything counts. So even when you fail at your experiments, make sure that you are documenting everything. And when you find the solution for those failures, make sure you document that, and your explanation for the way you sort of figured out the solution to them, because these experiences are going to come in handy. And one day when you're facing the same kind of problems with whatever you are working on, really, if you go back to your notes, you're going to get the answer that you had once answered yourself. So it's a very big lesson that I have learned over the years. After the interview, I was spending most of my time getting the dissertation written and also doing some lab work. So with the enthusiasm of preparing for this postdoc position, I found myself getting involved with another project in my current lab, imagining that this is the experience that would help me later on in my new position. This new project was focused on developing passive sampling techniques for a chemical contaminant called PFAS. In my PhD, I've been working on developing and sort of optimizing sampling methods for a different class of contaminants called polychlorinated biphenyls, or PCBs. So this was a project that was right down my alley, and I was just very excited to get into this project. And we played around with some polymer casting methods, which is something that, in spite of my background in chemistry, I never had the chance to do before. So that was a very interesting experience. We tried a couple of methods, a couple of different polymers, and the first couple of tries were not super successful, but these were just practice sessions, and it was a good start overall. I learned a lot. I was trying to get one of my chapters out to my advisor before the holidays started. On 9th December, I sent my first chapter to him because I was leaving with Aniruddha for a week-long trip on the 10th to New Orleans. was attending a conference and I was just tagging along with him. The last holiday break that I took that year was back in January, and when I visited India for 2 weeks to get my visa renewed. So I badly needed that break. We have both been to New Orleans before. I visited once in 2017 with my friends when I was doing my graduate studies in a different school. And he visited at least twice before, I think, attending conferences. It seems all of his conferences since the last couple of years have been happening at New Orleans for some reason. So we were both familiar with the city to some extent, but we had never experienced it together. So this was our chance to experience New Orleans together. And we were a little excited because 14th of December was our second marriage anniversary. So yeah, we were getting to experience 14th of December at New Orleans together.
Everything that happens is motivation. Everything that happens is motivation. I regard the work of motivation the most important work in the history of man. Everything that happens is motivation. Everything that happens is motivation. I regard the work of motivation the most important work in the history of man. Everything that happens is motivation. Everything that happens is motivation.
The day before we left New Orleans, I heard back from the postdoc position, and I did not get the position. They had made the decision to not go ahead with my application because the position needed to start early, and I could only start a new position post May this year, because that is the tentative time that I want to defend my PhD. So yeah, that happened. Initially, I thought it's okay because the timeline did not match. It was not really in my hand. It was not because I did not have the experience or the expertise, but it was because the timeline match didn't happen really. And maybe it wasn't meant to be. But over the next few weeks after getting back from New Orleans, I was starting to feel very paranoid about the job hunting process. We came back home and I decided to take care of my plants. Any form of passive work is a great catalyst to think clearly. So I built this little shelf and put my plants against the windowsill on the shelf, along with some artificial light, so that they are sorted for the winter months. Christmas and New Year, I was starting to feel a little impatient because no one was replying to my emails because it was the holidays, and I was just lost about the entire timeline of my applications, getting the offer, applying for, and getting approval for work authorization paperwork, which is a thing for international students, by the way. And last but not the least, writing and defending my dissertation. By the way, if you are interested in knowing about the process of work authorization / immigration paperwork after your graduate studies in the US, this vlog is not the one where I go into it, and there are a bunch of resources already that exists, some of which I list in the description below. So yeah, feel free to check that out. On 30th, we went out to see some lights at Washington, D.C., which is like a 40-minute drive from where we stay with our friends. And New Year's Eve was very chill. We just stayed home, had some homemade food, hung out with our friends till past midnight, and that was how the year ended, really. So this is me just here to sign off from this vlog. We have reached the end of the vlog. This was a great summary of how 2023 ended for me, and overall it was a very good year. I went to India in the beginning of the year to meet my family. I got my visa renewed, which was ending after 5 years of the day I came to the US. So probably that marks the 5-year mark of being in the US officially. My husband graduated with his PhD. Well, he graduated in November the year before, but he did his graduation walk this year. So his parents came over to Maryland from India, and we had a gala time. They attended his ceremony where he took his walk, and we took a quick trip to Niagara Falls with them. So it was a lot of fun. I presented my work at 2 international conferences. One was Battelle in Austin, Texas, which was in January at the beginning of the year, and then CTAC North America, which was in Louisville, Kentucky in November last year. I got to visit at least 4 new cities in 2023. I think it's a very big privilege for us that we get the opportunity to go to different places and present the work we are doing as PhD students in the US. But these are all the good things, and of course there were some very hard situations that my family in India, and that impacted me as well here of being away from them, had to go through in 2023. My mother lost her elder brother to cancer. Both my parents underwent surgeries, one of which was a quite serious one, which made me reconsider the entire aspect of continuing to stay away from my family in a different country. That makes our life so much more difficult, and we almost feel guilty about it at times, but that's how it is, I guess. And just coping with that idea of being away at a time when they probably needed me the most. Yeah, so but by the law of averages, I would say 2023 was a very good year in terms of all the opportunities that came our way, and the experiences we had. Ever so thankful and grateful for that. I just hope in 2024 we all get to embark on our new journeys with renewed hope and all the energy that we need to get through a new year, a brand new year, to experience new events that happen in our lives, new opportunities that come our way, and maybe be a little bit kinder towards everyone around us, and more importantly to ourselves. And I wish all of you a very happy new year. A little bit too late into the year, but nevertheless a very happy new year once again. And I will see you in the next one.